Hey everybody, this is Linda, and today I'm here with some Destashes. I actually came across enough stuff to make up a couple bundles of different items. So I'll show you what I have. I have three different things to show you today. Okay, this is a small doily pack. I'm asking $35. That is shipped. And I'm sorry it has to be U.S. only. I can't afford to pay the shipping for international. I'm going to start with the small doilies, and I'm going to try to go through this kind of fast, but I still want you to be able to see everything that's in this bundle. So you'll get these small doilies here. And I didn't count these, so I really don't know how many there are. I guess I could count them as we're going along. Then you'll know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, there's 17 of the small ones. Then there's the itty bitties. We'll do those next. I could write it down, I guess, so I don't forget. 17 small. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are little connectors. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 tiny ones. Let me get these back in the bag, because I'm going to need a little more room to show the big ones. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're good. I am. It's a beautiful day here in North Carolina. Sun is shining. Our weatherman said we're going to have a spicy day, so we'll see how hot it gets. This is tied up with a piece of sari silk yarn. It's nice to use as embellishments, put on top of tags or whatever. Okay, here are the big ones. Here's 1, 2, this is pretty, 3, 4. These are nice. You can stamp right in the middle of that one if you wanted to. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 's a heart, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This one has a few stains on it. You have to look for the, I mean, these are old doilies, and so you're going to have some staining on a few of them. And 17. See, there's a little discoloration on that one. So yes, that's the doily pack. 17 big ones. So we'll just recap a little here in a minute when I get this tied back up. So, as always, if you think that I'm charging too much, you can always make me an offer. However, remember that shipping is included in the price. And if you haven't mailed anything at the post office lately, you'd be very surprised at what it costs to mail stuff these days. It's getting to be not just at the post office, but everywhere. Y'all notice the price of food lately? I don't know about where you live, but here where I live, it's gone up like crazy. Pretty soon we're going to be on a diet just because we can't afford to buy food. Okay, enough about that. Okay, so there's 17 of these big ones. There's 17 of these smaller ones here. And then there's 18 of the babies. So that is the doily pack. $35 shipped. Okay, now let's move on. Whoops, I need to put these back in. I got a few other things here, so I need to make sure that I keep everything together so that I don't get them, I don't think I'd get them mixed up anyway, but just to make sure that nothing gets left out that's supposed to be in here. So I don't want to wrinkle things up. So, okay, doily pack. Put that down on the floor. Okay, next I have a pack of fabric. I did some fabric not too long ago, and I had leftovers from the 2 big packs that I made. So I'm calling this a small fabric bundle, and I'd like $35 shipped for this. You know what? Let's change that. I'm going to say $30. How's that? We'll do that. $30 shipped. Okay. I'll just show you what's on top first. There's a lot of strips that were left over from where I divided up the fabric. So let's see, this is going to be backwards. Let me open it up so I can show you the front easier. Okay. All right. These are just leftover strips, and you know there's a lot of things you can do with these. So there's this one with the butterflies. And I don't know if they're really showing up in true color, but I think as far as my monitor today, they seem to be doing pretty good. Some days things really don't. I like this. It's stamped with it's postage marks. It's just some red stripe. And these are all pretty long, about I don't know, 10, 12 inches, I guess. Some of them could be a little shorter. Some could be a little longer. It's quite a bit of this one. I like this. Good for a lot of things. And some of these are new. Some of them are vintage. They're a combination of sheets, yardage from the fabric store. Some I found at the thrift store. Some are clothing that I have taken apart. So it's just a lot of different things. This is really cute little bee fabric. There's not really a lot to say about it. It's just, this is one of my favorites. I love those colors. That's just a little tiny piece there. This is a very, it's a pink. It might be showing up orange, but it's not orange, it's pink. I call that my hippie fabric. Okay, let's see, is that the same? Nope, that's a little different. Same thing? Yes, same thing. Okay, so that is the strips. Then there's a piece of this, which is nice to cut apart and use individually. And then there's a big piece of this pink gingham check, I think is what you call this. And now we have these. They're all pretty big. Pretty good size pieces. Get into that in a minute. Okay. And some of these will be familiar because you would have seen them in the strips, because the strips were just leftover pieces. So there's two good pieces of this, which goes wonderful, I think, with that. That goes together so well. So there's that. Big piece of this. This is really pretty. Two pieces of that. I like this. It looks like a kind of a ready-made quilt. There's two pieces of that. Here's a big piece of my hippie fabric, but it's not orange, and it is showing up orange, but it's really pink, and it's a really dark, pretty pink. Here's a horse with some dogs, and well, it's racehorses, I guess. And there's another piece. They're hunting. That's what they're doing. They're hunting something. I forget what it is they hunt, but that's what they're doing. I love this. This is one of my favorites. I don't know what this is, but there's two pieces of it. I think it might have, I don't know what it is. Don't know where I got it. I don't remember. Some of these fabrics I've had for years. This is kind of like a, I won't say that it's a ticking, but it sort of feels like a ticking, and it certainly looks like one. Goes well with this piece of denim. Which is not a very big piece. This is pretty. It's not embroidery, but it looks like it is. And you could. I've got a piece of this, and I'm going to embroidery it. I'm really into the slow stitching right now, so I'm going to embroidery that, I think. There's two pieces of this. I think I got this. I think that's the way it goes. Strings are included for free because there's tons of them. Now, if you're like Roseanne, if you know who Roseanne is, you would love to have the extra strings because they're what she calls her fuzzies. Okay. That's pretty. Those are hibiscus, I think that's what you call those. And I love this. It's like a watercolor. I think I've got all these upside down. Let me turn around. They look upside down to me. Well, that still looks upside down, so I guess it doesn't matter. This looks like watercoloring to me. There's two pieces of that. And this looks like watercoloring also. There's that. This is really pretty. I like the colors on this. This might have been an old sheet or something. Looks kind of like one. And here's a couple of green pieces that go well together. Do something with those. Piece of this blue with the avocados and the pineapples on it. This is pretty. And I like this. Kind of a country quilt type fabric. It's not quilted, it's just fabric. It just kind of looks like it has been to me. There's quite a bit of this bee fabric here. There's quite a lot of it, really. I had a ton of this. I bought this at, I think I got it at Joann's. And there's no way I'm going to use it all because I don't sew. I can do a little bit on the sewing machine, but I don't really make anything, you know, that requires a big piece of fabric. So I don't need it all. Why I bought a whole yard. Oh, I know what it was. It was a remnant. That's what it was. It was in the remnant pile, and there was quite a bit of it. I think it was over a yard. That's why I bought so much, because usually I only buy like a fourth of a yard, at the most a half, because like I said, I don't sew, I don't make clothes or anything like that, so I don't need a lot. This is a pretty vintage fabric here. And this could have been a sheet maybe, which I don't buy a whole sheet, so I don't know. Maybe it could have been a pillowcase, or I've never bought an entire sheet, so I don't know where it came from. I got it somewhere. Could have been a remnant from the thrift store. Is probably where that came from. And here's a piece of that Paris fabric with the Eiffel Tower on it. And then there's two pieces of this. And that is all of that. And now there's another little package that comes with it. I've got it tied up with a piece of sari silk. how did I do this? Oh, I see. And this piece of fabric is quite old here. It's been around for a while. It is a vintage piece. And I've included a few little pieces of lace and crochet. Piece of that. This is sweet. It's a little scallop, probably meant to go on a, a trim around sleeves, collars, things like that, I'm guessing. You don't see much of that anymore. It's just a regular little flat piece of lace. Quite a bit of that one. This is just a little extra package that I threw in with the fabric bundle. So, and then this, which is very pretty. You could pull this ribbon out and change it to whatever color you want it to be. Showing you the right side, yeah. Then there's a piece of this vintage trim here. Most of these are vintage. I won't say every one of them, but most of them are. It's a pretty crochet. Here's another little crochet piece. I don't think this is vintage here. I think this is more recent than that. Here's some vintage rickrack, little tiny, teeny tiny rickrack. And then there's a piece of this, which is just a ruffled lace. It's very soft. Then there's a little piece of this. So that is what comes in the fabric bundle. Let me tie this back up. Trying to keep everything together. Makes it easier for me, plus I don't have a lot of room here on my desk to have all this stuff and show you other things too. So that's the fabric bundle. Let me get rid of this, and then I'll show you the last thing I have. Lay this over here. Whoops. All right, and that is going to be $30 shipped. Okay, the last thing that I have to show you is a quilt bundle. Quilt journal kit is what this is. I made up some of these a while back, and they were real popular. They went pretty fast, so I had enough stuff here to make up another one. I could really make up some more if anyone's interested, but this was just the stuff that I had left over in the box where I made the kits. So I thought I would just make up another one and use up the stuff that I have. So let's just get into it. You got to get a huge, sorry for the crinkling, you get a huge piece of sari silk, big long piece, and then I'll show you the quilt first. This is the quilt piece for making your making the cover for your journal, and it's a big piece. It's more than enough to make a cover. And I also included a piece of the backing to use. You might want to put something inside of it. I don't know, but like a lot of people use file folder or batting is a good thing. Here is all of the pages. They're already together. All you have to do is sew them in. There's coffee dyed paper. See, I think I got it upside down. Let's try it this way. Yes, coffee dyed paper. Let me get this to the center then just a piece of paper you can write on or whatever. Here's another piece of, it's coffee dyed, but it's one of those computer sheet thing. I guess it's computer paper. Got the decoration on one side. This is another piece of that kind of paper, and it's got a little embossed emblem on it there. This is some deli paper. This is another coffee dye paper. Here's a sheet from an old ledger. Here's some music paper. Here's a piece of straw paper. If you watch Roxy, if you watch Rachel from Roxy's Creations, this is a piece of her straw paper here. Just a plain piece of paper there. I think it's watercolor paper. And a piece of Edith Holden. Another dyed paper. I don't know what I dyed that with. It's kind of a bluish gray color. I don't remember. Here's a piece of music paper that you can write on. It's to do write your own music, I guess. Here's another piece of coffee dyed paper. Piece of tracing paper. Here's a piece of paper, a page from a botanical book. Here's a piece of paper that I dyed with food coloring. It's piano roll and mulberry paper. Another piece of, there's a piece of graph paper. And the center is out of an old book, and I liked the picture. And then, of course, this is going to be the same on this side. And there's the Edith Holden page. Got a pretty bird on it. Okay, so that is all of the pages, the signature that you'll receive. And then these are some things that you can use on the inside to make pockets or whatever. Let's see. There's this pretty piece, hand embroidered, vintage piece there. I don't even remember what's in these. There's a, oh yes, I stamped these birds on the fabric and flowers and some words. Let's see what words there are. Remember, memories, and create. And then I just used a script stamp and stamped on that. So you get those pieces. Some pieces of fabric. Some of these you'll recognize from that fabric pack that I showed a while ago. There's a piece of the quilt. You'll get some trims. Piece of lace. Crochet. That's another piece of lace. Here's a vintage piece. Not pieces, but you don't need big pieces. You can do a lot with small pieces in a journal. It's a little piece of blue. This is a kind of a peachy color here. And that's kind of a pale blue on the bottom. Okay. Then there's pretty piece of this stuff. It looks like it's embroidery that's done with yarn, but it's a thick embroidery thread. It might be a wool. I'm not sure. I won't say. And then there's a piece of this vintage. Got some eyelet. And this wide piece of lace. Two different patterns. And then there's a few doilies, little bitty doilies. I know I'm going through this in kind of a hurry, but this video is getting kind of long. These little doily connectors are great for making flowers. You can like put a flower like that in the center, or a smaller one, or a button. There's all kinds of things you can do with those little bitty ones there. And then here's a few other larger ones. Like I said, I forgot what's in here. I just grabbed what was left in the box and put it together. And it's been several weeks ago that I put this together. I just hadn't gotten around to making a video yet. These you can cut apart and use as individual little flowers. Here's some vintage, vintage old yo-yos from an old yo-yo quilt. This was probably from the 30s, maybe 40s. This is from a lace from a curtain. You could cut apart and do a lot with that. And then you get a piece of this, which you can cut your own little doilies out any way you want to. And the last thing in here is this. And this is from an old table scarf that I had. And I know it's vintage because I bought it. I bought it from, there was a lace factory here. I don't know, it might still be here. We moved away and then moved back. But when we lived here in the 90s, there was a lace factory. And you could go over and buy, they had an outlet. You could go and buy stuff from the outlet that they had there where they made the lace. So, it's machine lace, but I bought it years ago, back in the 90s. Okay, let's see what's in here. I think most of this is vintage stuff. Here's some stamps. What else is in here? Stamps. S&H green stamps. Here's some cigarette cards. Well, these are tea cards. Same thing, just about, as cigarette cards. These are pretty. And then a vintage postcard from, does it say, March 31st. Is that 1915, I think it says. Yeah, March 31st, 1915. Okay, pretty little bunnies. Okay, so that is part of it. Here's one of these, I don't know what you call these cards. This was from Loading Cotton in New York. They have a name, but I don't remember what you call them. Here's a bunch of vintage things. Here's a ticket from Yonkers Transit Corporation. This is a little memorandum sheet from somewhere in New York. Loan payment from the State Employees Union, Credit Union, somewhere. Savings deposit. All these are nice. You can make tags, journaling spots, whatever out of these. State Employees Credit Union. This is for deposits. This is something from a doctor's office. I don't know what. Seaboard Coastline Railroad, another deposit slip. This is an old graph paper from a book. An old vintage book page. Let's see. Here's from a Greg Shorthand book. You get a piece of this. Is it one piece? The paper's really thick. Yeah, it's just one piece. That's a thick paper. This is from an old book, math book, metric system. These are all vintage book pages. This one's German. This one is, I think it's Japanese or Chinese. And this might be Arabic here, this page. Then there's a page from a stamp book that I have. From an old, here's one from an old dictionary. This is from an American magazine. Doesn't have the date on it, but it is from an original page from a magazine. This is an old 1933, 1934. This is from an old ledger book. Yeah. Daily sales record, August 1934. So there's that. A lot of this vintage stuff came from Patty Lane, Sacred Mementos. I buy a lot of stuff from her. She has an auction every Monday and Thursday nights on YouTube. She's Sacred Mementos, and it's a lot of fun, and she has some wonderful, wonderful things. What happened to my, I hope I didn't cut off. We'll see in a minute. And then here is some rusted paper clips, safety pins, and an old key. Here's some safety pins, charms, buttons, Scrabble pieces, some old jewelry pieces, hold on just a second. See if I can get back to where I was. Yeah, okay, still going. This is, let's see, what's this? It's closed with a stamp that you can take off and use, shower stamp. That's a piece of washi tape, I think. Let's see what else in here. Coin envelope, some cards. These are, this is a Picasso painting. This is a Monet. Here's some coin things. Some what do you call those? Negatives go in them. This says take care of. This is from, I think it's German. Vocabulary card. Yeah. And then a little envelope with some tickets in it. Let's see what we got in here. Another one of those washi stamps. I think I got a lot of things closed up with those, so those you can take off and use. What's in here? Let's see. What's in here? Tons of little things. Oh, here's some milk caps, some bingo pieces. Here's some coupon checks. These are all vintage things here. And these are stickers from a pharmacy, labels from a pharmacy. And I know I got those from Patty. Back in there so I don't bend you. Okay, let's see. Old flashcards and 2 old Rolodex cards. Here is some of those library cards from the, what is that, the Dewey Decimal thing? Can't remember. And then there's 2 of these Tundex cards that I got from Donna Little, and an old bingo card. So that's what's in this bag. Sorry for all the rattling, but you know, the only way to get it back in. And these are nice glassine bags, and they always make a noise, so we get quite a few of these bags also. This is a great kit for someone just starting that doesn't have a lot of ephemera and stuff. Here's an old note card. This is a vintage stationery. And this paper is kind of a peach color parchment paper. And this is another one. I'm not going to take it out because it's just a piece of paper that matches the envelope, which is also vintage, and it's got little specks on it. It's real pretty. Okay, so that's what's in this one. And we'll move right along to this one. Now, I'm not sure that there's anything vintage in this one. Could be wrong, but I think it's just things that I had. Tags. Seed packet, I guess. That's what that is. Tea bags that are empty. A little tiny paper bag. Some layaway tickets. Guest checks. Green and pink. 2 of each. Bridge papers. Score pads. Or sheets, I guess. Here's a 3-fold time card. and a repair tag. They're very long. You can fold that up. It's perforated. You can fold it up and make a pocket. Bend it over, make a, there's a lot of things you can do with it. It's pretty tall, pretty big. So there's that. This is a card from where I go a lot. It's called Granddaddy's. It's an antique store about, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes to an hour from where I live, and it's called Granddaddy's. And this is one of the little cards that you can pick up and write down what you want to get on it. This is just a bag of die cuts, things that I cut out from some of my dies. There's little file folders. I'll fold one over so you can see little file folders. Some are just plain, and this is a little pocket, a little envelope, not a pocket, and it folds up like this. I don't want to really fold it. I don't want to crease it or anything. And this is another little type of an envelope. It's got staples written on it. Folds up like this. Okay. And you get some picture wheels, Tim Holtz picture wheels, and these are some larger, these are some library pockets, and some bigger, little bit bigger file folders here. Let's see, is that it? Yeah, those are file folders. And then what is this? Oh, this is another type of an envelope. Let me see if I can show you that. And I think that's it. I can get one of these out. It folds up like this. And then it has this little thing where you can do that. So you could collage on them, or you could just put some decoupage it with a napkin, or paint it, or whatever you wanted to do with it. So that is the entire Quilt Pack journal. This goes in this paper bag. And oh, I think I got a package outside. All of my things, notifications are going off. Okay, so this is the Quilt Pack. And this is $40 shipped. So those are the 3 things that I have today. So I will list everything, all the information down below. If you're interested, I will say again, it's U.S. only. I'd like to be paid for by PayPal, friends and family. You can email me at lynnparent@yahoo.com. You'll have 2 hours to pay after I respond to your email. I have in the past held things for people, and then for whatever reason they didn't want them. I had people waiting in line, and I actually lost some sales because I didn't sell to them right away. So from now on, I don't think I'm going to be holding things. If you want it, you'll have to pay for it, or I'll move to the next person. Okay, that's it. So if you're interested in any of these, all the information will be posted below. Thanks a lot for stopping by and watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.